Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach, and today we have with us Stephen Norman, who is the author of Future Proof Sales Strategy. Welcome to the program, Stephen.
Thanks for having me, Mike. Real pleasure to be here.
Hey, good. Well, I always like talking about new things, new books, because I know that with any topic, there's a lot that is similar to, topics like sales. How much more new stuff can you get? But I also know that there's got to be a thread of some new twists that you would put onto that. So let's kind of jump right on into, obviously you've got a wonderful storied past and, consulting practice, coaching practice. But what made you write this book? What is new with it that can help salespeople out?
Yeah, Mike, I think it's a good question. I really saw a big gap in the literature, if you like. I think we all know that sales has changed tremendously, and the way buyers buy has changed tremendously in the last decade or more. And there's a lot of books out there directed at salespeople. I see a lot of books that really focus on specific sales skills, how to prospect better, how to deal with objections, how to manage an account plan, how to negotiate better. So I see a lot of really great books in that area. And then on the leadership side, there's a lot of great leadership books, if you like, but they tend to be focused on things like innovation or managing people better or being a great leader, or they're those sort of celebrity entrepreneur, Elon Musk, Steve Jobs sorts of books. And I really didn't see a lot around sales strategy and books for sales leaders and how to navigate through this much changed selling and buying environment.
And much of that is recognizing how to spot trends and things in the current environment to then apply sales strategies to, correct?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's something I outline in the first 10 or 15% of the book. Really covers some of those trends and some of those situations that are happening in the market and happening with customers. And as we recognize that, we should be adjusting our sales organization and our sales approach to deal with those things.
And I think that it is so easy to say that, like, just notice a trend and then adjust. But what are some practical ways to do that? Because there's two parts to that statement. One, you got to notice trends and how they apply to you, and then you need to make some adjustments. So what would that look like on both sides of that?
Yeah, well, I think if most sales organizations and sales leaders would recognize that the approaches that we were taking 10 years, 20 years ago are just getting less and less effective now. Mm-hmm. And you would see that in your sales results. So many sales leaders, complaining about having weak pipelines. They're having fewer and fewer people making target. That's been a trend that's just been ongoing for at least a decade now. So the signs are usually there that we need to do something different. So it's really around business performance, getting the sales results, having people making their quotas. They're usually pretty good warning signs that you need to do something.
And I mean, those, to me, typically that also is very common in an organization. You're going to notice that whether there's a trend or not. But what do you find some current trends are that might lace into current organizational trends? So, for instance, the trend of video. A lot of people are really intrigued with video. So how can your organization recognize that trend and increase their sales with some personal video, maybe a video email where it goes over the proposal you are about to send over and walks them through each section? So are those some of the kinds of trends that could help out B2B sales?
Well, definitely. Yeah, like I think video emails are a great tool, and I'm getting a lot of my clients to implement that. And what we're talking about is, customers. It's much harder to get the attention of customers. All right, so that's a big trend. We know that customers and prospects can get a lot of information without talking to a sales organization. And, they're not really looking to make connections with salespeople. But, sales organizations want to get in front of prospects, and we have to be using more cutting-edge tools to get their attention. We need to be getting their attention with much better messaging that are focused on customer problems, not talking about ourselves and our products and so forth. Which so many sales organizations are still geared that way, even though they may understand and sort of intellectually understand that we must address customers with customer-centric messages. So many organizations are still geared towards that product output that is being less and less effective.
Well, and I think that people can logically say, well, we are customer centric and we do value the customer, but then when you go to their website, it's all about our team has and we provide you with, and I think if someone else from the outside of the organization looks at some of your sales, marketing, and website collateral, they could easily point out so many things that maybe the prospect or the customer doesn't mentally or consciously say, I don't like this because they use I or we, but I think it gives off that feeling, right? I mean, so what do you recommend some sales organizations do in their preparation on their sales or marketing material or even their website?
Yeah, well, it's so ingrained, isn't it, that we talk about ourselves on our website or in our customer interfacing material. And what I've seen a lot of sales organizations is, there's a lot of internal teams competing for the salesperson's attention, right? There's usually various product teams, or a services team, or the marketing team, that they all want their share of the salesperson, and they tend to be giving them messages about how good that particular product is and how it's the best in the market and so forth, right? So it's quite often an overwhelming force internally. So I think sales leaders and marketing leaders, they need to be looking at that and giving the information to our sales team and our frontline marketers in a more customer-focused way, because the customer doesn't really care about us. The customer doesn't care about how great our company is, that our product is better than another product per se. They're interested in themselves. They're interested in solving their own problems. They're interested in maybe having a conversation with someone that solved that problem in 3 other similar places. Yeah, and help that person, get their job done.
Well, have you ever heard the concept of the first time that someone hears a certain concept, they kind of imprint it or relate it back to that same person, so years later it's like, oh, hey, I learned that concept from, this person. Anyway, I say that to bank off of what you just said. Years ago, I remember seeing Brian Tracy do a presentation, and I picked this up from him, which I'm certain is not his own thing because it's really, really popular. But everyone listens to the same radio station. Have you heard this one? Do you know what radio station everyone listens to?
Tell me.
It's WIIFM. What's in it for me?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And, I say if you can advertise or, quote unquote, advertise or transmit on that radio station, knowing that your audience is watching for what's in it for me. And if you keep that as the focus all the time and you speak to the problem that you solve, now it's going to kind of ring a little bit truer, and you can definitely then move into the point of, we do this, we provide that, but you've got to get their attention first to develop that rapport and trust.
Yeah, absolutely. And humans have got their radar up the whole time.
Yeah.
For what's in it for me, and they don't respond to other stuff. They don't, something that's not really relevant to me and my goals and where I'm going. I'm just going to filter out. I'm not really going to react. But I'm not surprised with what you say. Someone who comes to you with a new idea of what's in it for me, there's going to be a lot of neurons in the brain are going to be firing and reacting to that, and it's going to imprint very clearly.
Well, and if you as a salesperson have done your homework and researched that person you're speaking to or getting ready to speak to, you can really craft some things that probably will really relate to them well. So even without, having the initial meeting, you can say, well, you know what, I'm pretty sure that you struggle with, because you can see maybe that organization's blog post or case studies or whatever they're doing. And then if you're dealing with the VP of whatever, you can go to their LinkedIn. So, there's so many tools we can have at our disposal to kind of do some testing that way in your conversation. And I think then you can speak to what's in it for them a lot easier today than it was a couple decades ago.
Yeah, definitely. We don't want to be sending generalized cookie-cutter messages out to customers. Like the response rate on email or phone calls that are very standardized just don't work anymore. We really need to be going out with very customized messaging. So, yes, definitely research that specific person, research their company, research their industry a little. And if you do that, you'll be miles ahead of like 99% of people out there sending messages out. So you should get a pretty good response with that sort of approach.
But, I find that interesting because I remember way back in the day of hearing sales training talking about, you're sitting in the CEO's office waiting for him to bring you in and for your conversation, and you look around and you notice he likes sailing, so you can have some commonality. You just look around, things like that. Well, these days it's way easier with online and social media, and it should be so commonplace to have some of those things in mind, in place when you do your conversation, your sales call. But to your point, you just said it, 99% of the people don't. So A, why is that? But B, doesn't that make a good salesperson really excited? Because let's say 99% is not the correct number. Let's say it's 79 or 80%, but still the vast majority of your competition is not doing this. So when you do it, you stand out like a wonderful salesperson because your competition's not doing it, and it's not hard to do.
It's an absolutely great opportunity, but like I mentioned before, I hate to sound negative, but it's so ingrained in a lot of large companies and even like senior management that really haven't grasped this. I was doing some training for a group of very senior salespeople at a big American multinational with a big operation over here. And we were talking about this concept and all. And I was talking to them about how their goals and what they're trying to do with customers. And one of their key goals that they've been given is to present product roadmaps to customers. So they've been outreaching to customers with a message of, I want to come and talk to you about our product roadmap. And
keyword being our.
Our products, our roadmap. And it's just something the customer's going to sit through. They're just going to glaze over for an hour.
Yep.
And we've wasted a great opportunity of getting in front of someone and really bringing some value to their business.
But let's use a hypothetical example and think about that product roadmap for someone in the whatever, engineering space. Don't you think that the salesperson could go to that company's LinkedIn or website and find just a couple little clues where they could then say, hey, I would like to drop by and show you how our product roadmap can help you solve X, Y, and Z. So even though you use the word our product roadmap, you're then you're customizing it, specializing it to them and their company, and maybe it was a recent LinkedIn post or blog post they put out, and now you can say, you talked about this trend or this industry issue that you're dealing with. This product roadmap will help you because it whatever. I would love to bring it by and show it to you. Is that something that's not hard to do, right?
It's not. I think that's what you're describing is a level better than what these guys were tasked with.
Yeah.
But we really don't want to be talking about products until we get way into the sale, until we really understand their business, where they're going, and then just very once we've established value, once we've established they have a problem, they've got pain with their existing situation, once we've established what that's costing them, what a potential new solution, the benefits that could bring to that company, hopefully getting financial terms, then product is just part of the solution to getting them to their goal. So I'm very cautious about leading with product in any way.
Well, it's interesting. I heard myself say at that end of that statement question to you, that's easy, isn't it? And it made me think about the phrase, what's easy to do is easy not to do. Yeah,
absolutely. Because all this, there's a few basics like that will really stand out sales organizations or salespeople from the pack. They sound easy to do, but they really have to work at it. And changing a habit takes a lot of effort.
Yeah.
But the few that do it will do very well. We know the rewards in sales can be absolutely huge, and more, the rewards are going to the top few who really work hard at this stuff.
And I think that we need to recognize the fact we've touched on it, but work hard, that sounds like a lot of effort, and it is, but if you can do that, you can almost be assured that you're head and shoulders above your competition, because your competition typically is not doing that. So I would like to go in just a touch deeper on the area of specialization. What are some things that you would recommend organization could watch for in specialization in kind of bringing that to light in for the sales team?
Yeah, absolutely. If we look at most functions in companies and in industries, specialization is the norm. If you look at how manufacturing works, even how the marketing function works, and there has been some resistance to specialization in the sales function for some reason. So we still see a lot of organizations where a single salesperson may be doing all of the customer approaching or prospecting work. Then they're working on deals and closing deals and negotiating the first deal with the customer. Then they're managing the customer relationship after then, and providing the type of customer experience or customer service function as well. That's an extreme example. I still see a lot of companies doing that. Some companies have gone to some degree of specialization. Maybe they've split between an inside sales team and an outside sales team and split some of the roles and the work, or they've split between what they might call a hunting team and a farming team.
Sure.
Okay. But with the sophistication of our customers and how customers are much harder to get to these days, I really believe we must have a specialized prospecting function. Prospecting is a real craft. It requires persistent effort all day, every day. We need to be using the latest tools in prospecting. We need to be really doing that activity. And if you really want a consistent and steady stream of qualified leads and progressing new customers into your company, I really believe you must have that. So that's one. And then at the other end, on when we have customers, like we all know, and the data is very clear, that getting new business from existing customers has so much benefit for us, is much cheaper, is much better profit than trying to get new customers. And I really believe we need to specialize in taking care of those customers, and we need to have people and teams dedicated to making our existing customers very satisfied, making sure that they are getting great value from using our products, they're achieving ROI, and then once we're inside those customers, we should be able to expand our business. We're in the box seat.
Well, you hear that for decades. The statistic I've used for decades is it costs 5 to 7 times more money to get a new customer than it does to retain an old customer. And, so we use that, and that's wonderful. I think people hear it, believe it. But I think that they don't really understand some maybe advanced ways to do that. And just a thought that I'll throw out to you and see what you think. Yeah. It's not necessarily there is a money factor of keeping a current client because then you don't need to go get another client. But there's another aspect of, yes, the obvious is upsell and cross-sell. Hey, you've got this product. Would you like to get the higher plan? Or do you need this complimentary package? So that's obvious, in my opinion. That's really obvious. The other obvious is referrals. If you stay in touch with and do a good job, you can get referrals. That's obvious. But where I think that a lot of people make a mistake overlook is in B2B, you could be the vice president of business development, and one of your big clients is a vice president in this organization, and depending on the size of that organization, you may be doing a nice piece of business with his department, and you might be thinking, I can upsell, cross-sell that department, I can get referrals, but if you already have kind of like the inside track with them and you can almost get in the doors, I've heard the stories of, you can walk right on in and get right to this guy's office. Well, how many other divisions of that company in that building, across town, across the country, does that person have access to that could make an introduction? So now you're doing business with this division in this company, and he refers you to the manufacturing, VP because they need something similar. So I wonder if you've seen that type of opportunity with kind of staying in touch and going deeper with a current client. Yeah.
Look, generally, that's left up to the individual, unfortunately. And what I'm talking about, and what some great companies are doing, and you see this, let's say, a company like SAP, for example, or some other companies that have really grasped this, that they really institutionalize what you're talking about. We want to create. We have a team of people that really focus on turning our customers into advocates. Okay, so that divisional VP that's using our product, okay, we want to make them so happy that they will actively advocate for us.
Yep.
And if they advocate for us to those other business divisions or other countries or other areas of that company, that's much better than us going around and trying to sell in to those divisions ourselves. And imagine that at an industry level as well. Like if this guy stands up at an industry conference as a user and says, hey, I've used this product and it's transformed my business, we really want to have programs and encourage that. And some great companies are doing it and getting great results from it.
Well, Stephen, I would like to just ask at this point, do you have a way that our listeners can reach out, connect with you, pick up a copy of your new book, and learn some more of these techniques that we've been talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. Please check me out at www.growthacumen.com.au. All the information on the book's there. You can also download the first 2 chapters of the book for free from the website. Also, please check me out on LinkedIn. So Stephen Norman, or my handle is linkedin.com/growth-coach. That's growth-coach. So look forward to interacting with all of you at some point. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, I will make sure I have that link in the show notes as well. And thank you so much for coming on today.
It's been a great pleasure.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneursradio.com.